There is a huge mistake when you're counting carbs on keto because it's not all about carbs. Sometimes people think that it's all about just bringing your carbs down below 50 grams and you're good to go. Other people think you have to go really, really super high on the fat to be keto. But today I'm going to get into something really, really important that will make your keto plan work a lot better. So the question is, why do you reduce your carbs below 50 grams? Because carbs increase insulin. And it's really the insulin that blocks ketosis. So we're trying to generate ketones, right? And so the more the insulin goes up, the less we're going to be in ketosis. And if we can't be in ketosis, we're not doing the ketogenic diet. So people start counting carbs, they start looking at sugars, they start focusing on the glycemic index. But what's missing in this whole thing is the understanding that protein also increases insulin, especially if you have insulin resistance or you're a diabetic or you're pre-diabetic. So protein has the ability to increase insulin, not as much as carbs, but it will increase insulin. All right. Fat and fiber. But also when you combine these two with other foods, you buffer the insulin, okay? You reduce the insulin, not just sugar, not just other carbs, but even proteins and variations of fats in protein that could trigger insulin, because this is the most important thing we need to focus on when we're trying to achieve health, okay? And of course, you already know that sugar will trigger insulin and various carbs will increase insulin. And you probably also know that it's important to have normal blood sugar. And the more you go on low carb, the lower it will go. So before that number would have been classified as hypoglycemia, low blood sugar, but now it's your new normal because you're not consuming carbs, you're running off of fat. So they consider like hypoglycemia being like below 70, right? But it is important to have perfect blood sugars, okay? So anywhere between like 70 and 80, okay? That would be ideal. Because if that sugar is too high, as well as having the insulin too high, these are the symptoms. Tired, you get fat, your cognitive function gets less, your mood becomes a lot lower, you start developing metabolic syndrome and you get hungry all the time. And then if it's low, you get irritable, you can't sleep, shaky, craving, hungry. When your blood sugars are perfect, boy, you're going to feel your optimum. Okay, so that is one goal in addition to all the other benefits we're trying to achieve by going on keto or intermittent fasting. Like butter would be 2. Now, butter has a tiny bit of other things in it that probably brings it up to 2, or else it'll probably be 0. But butter is 2, so that's low. It's not going to create much of any type of spike with your insulin. Pecans are 5. Why? Because it has a good amount of fat. It's a fatty nut. Walnuts are 9. Why are walnuts higher? Because they're not as fatty as a pecan. Now let's take a look at egg yolk. It's a 15. Look at egg white. It's 55. So anything low fat or lean or skim is not going to help you because we want this insulin low. We have whole wheat bread, okay, versus white bread. It's almost the same as far as insulin. So why is white bread higher on the insulin index? Because it has less fiber. Fiber buffers the insulin response. All right, check this out relating to fat. Tuna, like in a can, is 16 if it's in oil, but it's 26 if it's in water. Why is this one higher? Because it doesn't have the oil. The oil is supposed to buffer the insulin response. Let's take a look at whole milk, okay? It's 24, but look at skim milk, it's 60. You see the difference there? Why? Because there's a lot less fat in skim milk. Now let's take a look at something else. Let's look at beer, it's 20, white wine is 3. Okay, so now I hope you have some deeper concepts that go beyond just the carb counting